The WRC returns to New Zealand and the Vantage Aluminium Joinery New Zealand Championship will run as part of the event over all 3 days. Dean SUMNER leads the points after his victory in round 1 Otago, but he'll start down the order, 34th car on the road. In front of him, the WRC cars will sweep the road. Then the SWRC and PWRC cars, including Hayden Paddon, reigning New Zealand champ, Richard Mason, and driving for the Czech national team, Northland driver Kingsley Thompson. Will road position favour the front runners? Can Hayden Paddon make up for missing round 1? It's 3 days of intense competition. Someone will lose and someone's going to win in round 2 of the Vantage Aluminium Joinery New Zealand Rally Championship. First Kiwi over the start line of the Auckland Viaduct is Hayden Paddon. He missed round 1 as he was competing in the PWRC in Europe with the Pirelli Star Driver program.
We won't have it easy. There's a lot of fast drivers, but our primary focus for this weekend is the PWRC. And then, if we can be the leading Kiwi at the end of the event, that's sort of an added bonus.
Richard Mason is one of 2 New Zealand drivers given a PWRC entry, so he'll also start ahead of the other Kiwis.
We're very lucky to be given the PWRC entry from Rally New Zealand. Also, they've given us car number 40 to celebrate 40 years of Rally New Zealand, so, it's a really nice twist. We've had some fantastic PWRC results in the past. We had 2 seconds and a third. Dearly love to have a first in there, and we know it's not easy, but we'll certainly be striving towards that.
Emma Gilmour is the other PWRC wildcard entry, as she's hoping to improve on her 4th place in round 1.
I think it's going to be a lot more even playing field than it was at Otago, so all on.
And Otago, really strong pace in the new car?
Yeah, it had its moments, but generally overall pretty happy with the speed. Just a few things to sort, which hopefully we've got on top of for this event.
Kingsley Thompson was the final Kiwi to get a drive in the PWRC, picking up the entry of the Czech driver Martin Simorad. And Mark Tapper takes over the entry of Andrew Hawkswood's Group A Evo 7. But the man they'll all be chasing is championship leader Dean SUMNER.
We're not going to put any pressure on ourselves, though. We just keep on telling myself we'll just do what we can and try my best and see what happens. I think the most important thing is basically to finish every single day and try and be consistently sort of fast like we were in Otago.
Chris West led Rally Otago until a broken wheel destroyed his chances, but he's always gone well on these day 1 stages.
Fantastic roads, though, regular roads that we use at Whangarei and past roads from Rally NZ, so we're looking forward to it. It's important to have a solid start and build on that, and just have a look and reassess at the end of the day as your whereabouts.
So as the rally drivers get a rest before the first stage on Friday morning, let's check out the stages with our Vantage Aluminium Joinery stage preview.
Stage 1, Waipu Gorge, is a traditional Rally New Zealand stage. At 13 kilometres long, it starts fast and flowing through farmland before tightening up as it enters a gorge. This road is in really good condition after all the dry weather they've had up in the northern region. Special Stage 2, Brooks, is another traditional Rally New Zealand stage, although with a different start this year. Very fast flowing start before again tightening up through the midsection with some steep, narrow descents. We finish over the famous Hella Bridge jump. Special Stage 3, Bull, is the longest stage of the rally at 33 kilometres long. It'll be a real challenge this stage with lots of changes of pace and rhythm and a technical, short tarmac hill climb in the middle. Special Stage 4, Cassidy, is another traditional Whangarei type road. Fast and flying, but yet still quite medium speed, high cambered corners. It's a real challenge in keeping the right level of grip to carry the momentum through the corners. After service, we have a new Special Stage 5, Springfield. This stage is a little bit different in character, a much wider road, very fast over some quite high-speed commitment crests, although there is a very difficult technical section coming down the hill before the finish of the stage. This stage also finishes on tarmac. Special Stage 6, Brooks, is the first repeat stage of the day. Although only 13 kilometres long, definitely is an easy stage and has claimed many international competitors in the past. Following stage is a repeat of the longest stage of the rally, Bull. This stage is going to be very hard on brakes, and there's also a couple of tricky bridges near the end that require a certain level of caution. Special Stage 8 Cassidy is the last gravel stage of the day. This stage will now be well swept with all the field being over the stage, which means it'll be nice high speed going through that fantastic New Zealand countryside. Final stage of the day is in the middle of Auckland at the Auckland Domain. The stage is only 1.5 kilometres long, but it definitely has a lot of tricky stuff in it. Really big concrete curbs to make sure that you don't go too wide, and with the gravel tyres that will be running, it's going to make the stage pretty slippery.
Stage 1, Waipu Gorge, a nice short sprint to start the day. First of the New Zealand Championship cars on the road is Hayden Paddon.
300 Platinum Crest. Break 100.
And of course, unlike Rally Otago, the first New Zealand car on the road is actually starting 17th on the road in the rally. So well-swept conditions for Paddon here, Roger.
Yes, certainly well-swept conditions for Hayden, but well-swept conditions for all the New Zealand competitors. And also they've got to run on a controlled tyre. Every competitor is running on the Pirelli Scorpion tyre, so a very level playing field for everybody.
Let's see how Paddon goes to the end of stage 1 on his return to Rally New Zealand. Down to the line, 7 minutes 03.9.
There's a rod. That's going to clean up big time.
Richard Mason next on the road. He struggled with the setup of his new car on day 1 of Rally Otago, but he came through for victory on day 2.
3, 2, 1, go. 300, absolute crest 50. 5 right minus.
Well, Sarah Mason back in the car with Richard. Now, Richard's always gone well in the Rally in New Zealand. He loves this event, but for a first time for a few years, it's been run up north now, and Richard has had a lot of bad luck up here, so let's hope he has a lot more luck today. Well, Richard's definitely trying. You can see him working on that wheel, and he's gone a little bit wide there as well, coming down to the finish line. What's his time going to be like? Can he be quicker than Hayden Paddon?
Richard Mason in the B&T Subaru. Down to the line, 7:02. Yes, he takes the lead. Emma Gilmour was gutted not to get a podium finish in Rally Otago, so this was her chance to shine. She has a lot of experience on these Kuiper roads.
And she'll be looking to take full advantage of her road position. One thing that's crucial on this rally is someone who gets away to a good start early on usually is the leader for a fair part of the day, so it's very important for Emma to have a good start.
Great to see the fans out checking out WRC Rally New Zealand. Emma Gilmour, has she made the start? She needs to be on the pace on day 1. 7:07, she's 5 seconds down over 11 kilometres.
5, 4.
It's not every day you get invited to run for a Czech national team in the PWRC.
50.
That's what's happened for Northland's Kingsley Thompson. Looking forward to running at the front of the field for a change to the local driver.
Minus 5.
Well, Martin Simmerad offered that to Mark Tapper, but unfortunately he was driving a Group A car, didn't have a Group N car to drive, so therefore he offered it to Kingsley Thompson, and he jumped at the opportunity.
And another 8 cars for the PWRC round on the road before this man, Mark Tapper, competing in the Group A Evo 7, the same car that Andrew Hawkswood used in the Open class at Rally Otago.
In fact, this is one of the last Group A cars still homologated to run in the WRC, but already some confusion as to which fuel Tapper is running. He may have fueled up with the official World Rally fuel, which has been used by the WRC and PWRC. But to qualify as an open class finisher in the New Zealand Rally Championship, he must use New Zealand unleaded pump gas, such as BP Ultimate. So until his fuel can be tested at the end of the day, his results will remain provisional.
Tapper down to the line. He loves the go, Jess, loves to go full-on maximum attack. 7:01.6, so he's just marginally quicker than Mason. Next man to start, Chris West. Looked like a clear leader at Otago, but fell apart at the last minute. So now here's his chance for redemption.
Certainly is, and he'll be on it this morning. But if we remember Chris West on these roads in the Whangarei Rally a couple of years ago, he really launched from the start and he was very quick. He knows how critical it is to be fast right from the get-go.
Tightens into 2 right minus over finish. 30.
Well, can Chris West pull a good time here?
Looks like he's going to be slower though. 7 minutes 09.3. In fact, the top times out of this stage were coming further back down the field. Sloane Cox put in a great time.
Well, check this out. Sloane Cox on stage 1 of Rally New Zealand, and he's heading for a great stage time. 7:05.3, so here's slot right in behind Hayden Paddon.
Patrick Malley was competitive at Rally Otago, and here on stage 1 he was off to a good start too. And
Patrick Malley's been a form runner since Nelson last year. He's been very fast, particularly early on in the rally.
Cool, that's it. And in fact, he had the same time as Ben Jagger, both doing a 7 minutes 06.6. And Stuart Taylor was in the battle too.
Well, Stuart Taylor, he's got a brand new engine in the car after Otago. He only did half a day down there, so he hasn't had a lot of seat time in this car.
7:06.9. And a poor start too for the championship leader Dean Sumner, just 7 minutes 08.7.
Well, maybe Dean's looking at the big picture because he is the championship leader, or is it possibly these new tyres? He's not used to them.
Better put up with that all day.
And another surprise in store, Jeff Argyle was running in the open class in the separate Possum Board Memorial Rally. He posted the fastest time on the stage, so is the leader after stage 1. Tapper 2.4 seconds back. Richard Mason, the Group N leader, in third, 1.9 seconds ahead of Hayden Paddon. Stage 2, Brooks, famous for the bridge at the end of the stage, and this year that started a different place on Finlayson Brook Road. Hayden Paddon running in the PWRC field, remember? So great road conditions for him. Second fastest of the production cars on stage 1.
But he'll want to do better than that. Now Hayden is aiming to be noticed by the WRC teams both here and when he returns back to Europe. So currently second place in PWRC. Well, that won't be enough for him. He'll be aiming to win PWRC. Coming down to the end of the stage, can he beat Richard Mason?
And Paddon's time is 8:42.9, so that sets up the time for Mason to beat, and here he is on the stage wanting to keep ahead of Paddon. Richard's been a thorn in the side of the PWRC drivers whenever he's gone head-to-head on these famous Rally New Zealand roads.
Well, this part of the stage, very familiar to Richard. He's driven it countless times on the Rally New Zealand in Whangarei. Now, he's coming down to the finish. Can he be quicker than Hayden Paddon? 8:42.6, that's 0.2 quicker than Hayden.
Emma Gilmour was 5 seconds down on stage 1. Here on stage 2, things were no better. The car was suffering from a clutch problem, and she lost another 12 seconds to the leader on the stage, and that put her back to 8th position overall.
Yes, well, on a road car, having no clutch would make the car undrivable, but these rally cars have a dog gearbox, which doesn't require the use of the clutch. And if you watch Emma there, she's actually not using the clutch at all.
No worries on the stage, though, for Kingsley Thompson. He improved on this stage, was now 5th position on the PWRC.
And of course, most of the top Kiwis weren't in the official PWRC entry, so Kingsley was just 10th place in New Zealand Rally Championship production class. So it's been a sound start for Kingsley, who's had little experience in this type of WRC competition.
So that's the PWRC Kiwis. Let's see what's happening in the other New Zealand production drivers running further down the field. Patrick Malley, best place, just 6.8 seconds down on Hayden Paddon by the end of the stage, and in a real fight with Stuart Taylor.
Well, real fight. Looks like there's a distraction up ahead. Oh, there's a car on its roof there, Clint.
But at least Malley's still going. Taylor was just 1.1 seconds back from Malley, having moved up 2 places on the stage, so another good performance from Taylor. Chris West having a big improvement on this stage, moving up 5 places to be just 1.4 seconds behind Taylor.
Well, maybe the improvement is because Chris was complaining about the tyres at the end of stage 1, so he's playing around with the tyre pressures, bringing them down a little bit, make the tyres last or work a little bit better, have a bit of heat in them earlier on.
Into 6 left plus 60.
6th place in the production class for the championship leader, Dean Sumner.
Dean's a driver that likes everything perfect, so just maybe the change to the Pirelli tyres is throwing him out a little bit, but I'm sure later in the day he'll get used to this, play around with the tyre pressures, and maybe it'll come right for him later on.
But after such a great start on stage 1, disaster for Sloane Cox on stage 2, he lost time.
5 left, keep in 20.
Well, looks like Sloane's on a big charge. He's carrying a fair bit of momentum on this downhill section of this stage. So after that first stage, he's really on it for the second one. Oh, he's just got it wrong there, and round it goes.
And that cost him 20 seconds. Also in trouble, Ben Jagger. He would drop 5 places on the stage after such a great start.
Well, with the young drivers, it's very difficult for them to be consistent. Inexperienced, I guess, is what you call it. But Ben Jagger, the other thing, he's driving right in front of his home crowd. He doesn't live very far from this stage.
And he was telling me he's really pumped up to do well in front of the local Whangarei fans. At least he gets past where Sloane Cox lost a bit of time. In the open class, Mark Tapper continues to lead, but remember there's a question mark about the legality of his fuel. Jeff Argyle running in the Possible Memorial Rally behind the Rally New Zealand cars. His time still count, remember, second on the New Zealand cars, just a second down on Tapper. 17-year-old Alex Kelsey was third in the open class, 34 seconds down on Argyle. But a real battle with him was this guy, Nigel Adams, in a very old Lancer Evo 5, just 4 seconds back from Kelsey. And Stephen Barker was the lead two-wheel drive car in all divisions of the rally in his Group N Fiesta.
Driving the Rally in New Zealand Rising Stars Scholarship entry, and Barker's been doing pretty well this morning because he's running a fairly conservative setup on this car. His aim is to get to the end of this rally.
So at the Gold Star production class, Mason has a 2.2 second lead over Hayden Paddon. Patrick Mally's in striking distance in third, and just 4 seconds separate the next 4 places.
Sumner improving on that stage, but he'll want to get closer to Mason to retain his points lead.
And in the open class battle, it's a real good showdown between Tapper, just a second ahead of Argyle. So 2 stages down, 2 to go on the first morning. Coming up, it's the car breaker bull stage. Can Emma Gilmour nurse home her clutch? Will Hayden Paddon catch Mason? It's all coming up on Rally New Zealand, round 2 of the Vantage Aluminium Joinery New Zealand Rally Championship. Stage 3, bull, 32 kilometres, the longest of the day, in fact, longest of the rally, so a chance for someone to make a break. In the battle to be the first Kiwi, Mark Tapper increased his lead, moved to 11th position outright, ahead of the WRC car Viagra. It was an outstanding drive from Tapper, what's a very old car with very little extra modification from a Group N car. Whether this result would count towards points in the open class would have to wait until the fuel test was carried out on the car afterwards, but for now, Tapper was impressing the crowd. But the real battle in this rally would be for the production class, or the Gold Star class as it's known in the New Zealand Championship.
That Gold Star refers to a small Gold Star shaped medal which is awarded only to the winners of the New Zealand Premier classes for rallying and racing. So this production class is considered to be the most prestigious class, and Hayden Paddon is the current champion.
Well, the current champ just about hit the bridge there. Right, the challenge for Richard Mason. Can he claim day 1 honours in Rally New Zealand? Could he move ahead and take the lead in the championship?
Well, Richard struggled on day 1 of Otago, but look what he did on the second day. He came through and won it. So this is a great start in this rally for this team.
Mason's time is 21:56.5, so he's ahead of Paddon by 3 seconds overall. Dean Sumner now. He grabbed a couple of places on the stage.
Yes, he was struggling with the feel of the Pirelli tyres that all the competitors must use in this WRC event. But he certainly got the feel of them through this stage.
Yes, he was third fastest in the Gold Star class, moved up 2 places to third. Westy now also moved up a place on this stage, but was 12 seconds slower than Mason over the stage, so definitely didn't have the same blistering pace that saw him lead on both days in round 1 of Otago.
Yes, West is now 23 seconds overall down on the leader, Mason. So he looks unlikely to score top points today, and that is something West desperately needs to do after failing to finish on the second day of Otago.
Stu Taylor dropped back to place here too, now 11.4 seconds behind West. We've talked about this rally being all about winners and losers, and Patrick Malley was about to go into the latter category.
5 left plus, 5 right plus. Yep. Power.
So disaster there, he drops 23 places and lost about 8 minutes. And bad luck too for Ben Jagger with gearbox failure on the stage. He'd be out for the day. a disappointment for the young driver from Whangarei, but that was some good news for Emma Gilmour. 2 cars retiring in front of her. She moved up to 6th in the class. No problems for this man too. Glenn Inkster 7th in the class. Glenn's second outing in the Evo 9 Mitsubishi.
The one thing Glenn's starting to do is he's starting to drive the car a lot straighter. Remember last year he had the Group A car. He drove the Group A car quite sideways. These cars, you must keep them straight.
8th place so far for Kingsley Thompson, but he was 2.3 seconds behind Inkster and only 9.2 seconds of Emma Gilmour, so in striking distance of 6th place. On a fight back after losing time on stage 2, Sloane Cox frustrated after such a good first stage run. And a great move up to the scoreboard too for Kieran Hall in his first rally in a new Subaru. Built by his team of supporters in Nelson, he was 10th in the class. Stage 4 Cassidy, familiar territory for the New Zealand drivers, and a familiar battle out in front too. Paddon and Mason, 57 kilometres of stages completed this morning. The gap just 3 seconds. It was turning into a classic battle between Subaru and Mitsubishi.
Well, talking about classic, Clint, this stage is an absolute classic. It's a fantastic stage. It's wide, it's fast, and look at the crowd out there watching these cars go through. And looks like Hayden could have a bit of a problem here. In fact, that's Toshi Arai who's actually come to a stop, so he's clear now, but that dust could have held him up a little bit. Well, just look how relaxed Hayden is behind the wheel. Driving this car perfectly.
Day in the office for the current New Zealand champion, but has he lost time here because of that dust? 13:33.2. Keeps that great battle going between Paddon and Richard Mason, hanging it out to dry for the spectators. That's what they've come to see on Rally NZ. The Kiwi drivers taking to the best overseas, but that's more problems for Mason there.
Yes, it certainly is. He's caught up with Toshe. In fact, he's just passed him now, so Richard's got the clear run. But we have to wait and see it to the end of the stage to see how much time he's lost. But he's really trying through the stage. This is tailor-made Richard Mason.
13:47.6. He's 14 seconds down on Paddon, so that's frustrating. Chris West on a mission here to make up some lost ground as well. Second on the stage, just 1.7 seconds down on Hayden Paddon. Pressure on Dean Sumner. The two drivers separated by just 2.9 seconds at the start of the stage.
Well, let's see if Dean can stay ahead. He will need to have a stage time of 13:37.8 or better to hold his place.
No, he can't do it. He drops behind West to 4th. Stuart Taylor would finish the morning stages 5th place in the class and within 12 seconds of Sumner.
Well, look at the special stage. Fantastic roads. They've got to drive with a lot of commitment.
30, 6 left minus. Small crest, long 5 right plus.
And relief for Emma Gilmour.
After nursing the car through the opening stages with no clutch, she's done very well in 6th place going into service.
Emma's time, 13:44.5. In the other classes, Mark Tabber continued to lead the overall race in his open class Mitsubishi Evo 7. He was now up to 11th overall in Rally New Zealand.
And Mark Tapp has really shown it here to the spectators, driving in fantastic sideways style. Very similar to the way Andrew Hawkswood drives this car as well.
Yes, Lino would be proud of Tapper. Jeff Argyle had dropped some time over the longer stages, was now behind Mason. And he may be a long way back, but Alex Kelsey was still 3rd open class car and 12th overall. Dave Strong is the only Kiwi to have gone to the new Super 2000 class in a Ford Fiesta. Great sound, isn't it?
Certainly is a little bit of an earlier model than what the S2000s are in the WRC. But Dave struggled with this car, struggling to get the hang of it.
Long, 6 right, 6 left, long, 5 right, jump.
Leading two-wheel drive car in the rally, Stephen Barker, 19th Kiwi.
Yeah, Stephen's had a trouble-free run, unlike the other Fiestas in the class, with both Ben Hunt and Phil Campbell having their problems.
Second of the two-wheel drive class was Dermot Malley, having a better run than his son Patrick. So in the Gold Star production class, Hayden Paddon now 11.4 seconds ahead of Richard Mason.
Emma Gilmour in 6th place and Kingsley Thompson, PWRC, entry in 8th place.
But it was Mark Tapper who was the fastest Kiwi going into the service in Whangarei.
Mark, it's been a pretty good morning for you so far.
Yeah, it's been not too bad. We had a spin in the first stage and probably lost 10 seconds, and had a spin and I had a problem in the last stage with oil sort of dripping onto the left front brakes, and it was just, I was turned around at one corner, but it was just inconsistent in the handling, but at least we've worked out what our problem was.
The last stage here, unfortunately, Toshi Arai in front of us had a broken rear cross member, so for about 10 Ks, we're stuck in his dust, and especially the last part of that, you couldn't see anything. So, but you just had to keep your head about you. It's a long rally, long way to go, so there was no point doing anything silly, and luckily you pulled over eventually. But, other than that, it's going all right.
Richard dropped down to 3rd overall, a bit of a problem in 4 for you.
Yeah, one of the other competitors in front of us had a puncture, and he started in front of Hayden, and Hayden managed to catch him in the tighter section, but man, we were in the fast stuff when we caught him, and we just couldn't get anywhere near him to get past, so eventually he pulled over, and it cost us quite a bit of time.
And how's this for frantic work? Emma Gilmour's team trying to rectify her clutch problem. Just 15 minutes for the remote service in Whangarei.
The car fell down on power, and we had an exhaust leak which boiled the clutch fluid, which meant we'd lost our clutch. And then also I brought the car's power down because I was heating up the intercooler, and it was pretty hard work actually. The car was down on boost, so but we got through it, and hopefully, fingers crossed, it'll be fixed now for this afternoon.
And stick around after the break. It's a brand new stage, the test of drivers, as day one continues on Rally New Zealand. Welcome back to Rally New Zealand, Day 1, Round 2 of the Vantage Aluminium Joinery New Zealand Rally Championship. Stage 5, Springfield, a brand new stage, just over 9 Ks, another sprint. Another remarkable stage, though, for Mark Tapper, who moved to 10th position outright in the rally.
Putting aside whether the car was running on the correct fuel for the New Zealand Championship, this was an outstanding achievement from Tapper, as he was the fastest non-WRC driver on this stage, and his car owner Andrew Hawkswood will be very pleased with him.
And 6 left over correct, middle, flip.
However, the New Zealand Championship battle was between the current champ Hayden Paddon, former champ Richard Mason. Paddon and Mason had both been slowed by the struggling Toshi Arai current stage 4, but Arai was back on track, so no problems here for Paddon.
Well, in a normal championship rally you get 2 services or 2 20-minute services a day, but in the WRC rally you only get a 15-minute remote service. That's all you get for the day. So really, you've got to have your car set up perfectly right from the start in the morning.
You've got to be sure of your changes too. Paddon's time across the line here. 6 minutes 01.5.
Shouldn't look at that corner at start. Good quarter bang, didn't it?
You might not see much, but that 14 seconds that Mason lost on stage 4 would really be hard to pick up on these stages, where the times are measured by just, 1/100th of a second.
Well, on these smooth roads up north, that seems to produce these incredibly tight races. Now, Richard coming down to the finish line. Can he get closer to Hayden Paddon?
No, he can't. 6:05.1. He loses another 4.5 seconds. Glenn Inkster put on a stunning effort on the stage, just 1.6 seconds slower than Paddon.
Well, Glenn's certainly starting to get used to this car. He's driving it a lot smoother, and it's starting to show in the stage times as well, although he's gone a little bit wide there. But he held it together. Well done, Glenn.
Jeff Argyle lost 10 seconds on the stage, his pace not matching the production cars after the service.
Yeah, well, he was complaining about no brakes, and I can tell you, you really need brakes on these stages.
And now the first of the repeat stages, Brooks, which ends with the famous railway bridge.
Well, these stages have probably swept even more than what they were this morning, so we probably expect some pretty fast times through here. And again, there's a problem here. In fact, that's an S2000 car stop there, Clint.
Same place as the last time, different car though. Must be a Finnish driver, perhaps.
Well, I say, Clint, you must have incredible eyesight.
We're hearing that Yanni Tahino had a bit of an off. Over the bridge now for Paddon. Gets them here. Last time, 8 minutes 42 this time. How much quicker will he be? 8 minutes 27.4, much faster. And now some drama. We're hearing reports that Richard Mason has stopped. It's a Subaru over the bridge, but it's not Mason. The next car through is Emma Gilmour. So that could change the face of the rally. Next car through is Kingsley Thompson. He's about 8 Ks in the stage.
6 right into 4 left minus. In.
And yes, that looks a bit like Richard and Sarah Mason just on the side of the road back there.
And you can just see some skid marks. Looks like the car's gone off the road there, so looks like Richard might get that car back on the road.
So if Chris West can get through the stage, he'll pick up second in the production class.
Well, Chris West is on a big charge this afternoon, and his time is 8:27.3. That's a great time, but he's still 25 seconds behind Paddon for the day.
Dean Sumner up to third of the production class now. Trailed West by nearly 30 seconds, so these positions look unlikely to change unless the drivers strike problems like Richard Mason. Still plenty of pressure on Sumner though, and that's coming right from behind with Stuart Taylor.
Yes, this is turning into a fantastic battle between these two as he goes across the line.
8 minutes 38.6, he's now just 10.8 seconds behind Sumner. Glenn Easter too, out to try and make a big improvement and close the gap in Emma Gilmour after a bit of a slow start.
Well, Glenn's definitely trying. He's got a fair bit of air as he throws it into this corner. Even Glenn Goldring's got a bit of a smile on his face as he comes down to the finish. What's his time going to be? 8:34.4, third fastest, now in 6th place.
In the other classes, Tapper continued to head the open class field, but the status of the car now under official investigation after the service. Although at this point, no fuel sample had been taken by Motorsport Technical Services. However, no matter what his status in the championship was, he was still the leading Kiwi and starting to raise some eyebrows amongst the Super 2000 cars who have been beaten by a 9-year-old Mitsubishi. And a great performance by Jeff Argyle, also in an old car too. 5th place Kiwi, potentially the open class leader. Teenager Alex Kelsey, the next open class car, had improved on every stage. Kelsey was now 1 minute and 20 seconds clear of the nearest opposition, Nigel Adams in an Evo 5 Lancer. And just getting to stage 6 means that Dave Strong had achieved more than in any previous event in his Super 2000 Fiesta.
Yeah, the reason for that is the car's a little bit temperamental, and I guess the boys have to sort of get used to working on this car and getting a few things right.
Right, let's take a look at Stephen Barker and Dave Strong together now. Basically the same cars, both Fiestas, but what a difference.
Huge difference. The car on the left-hand side, Dave Strong, 4-wheel drive, very light car, sequential 6-speed gearbox. Stephen Barker on the right is a front-wheel drive with a 5-speed gearbox, basically a standard production car. And at the moment, it looks like the standard production car is slightly in front.
And still the leading 2-wheel drive car in the rally. Dermot Malley still second in the Fiesta class. But a determined fight back from Ben Hunt in third after losing so much time at the start, now starting to beat Barker on the stages. So the times are tumbling on these repeat stages. Stage 7 Bull, the longest stage of the rally, but with the extra speeds come extra danger. And with Mason out, Hayden Paddon's got the chance to extend his lead, not just in the Premier Gold Star New Zealand class, but of course also leading car in the PWRC part of the rally as well.
Well, the PWRC is over 9 rounds and all the competitors have to do at least 6 rounds, and this is a great opportunity for Hayden Paddon to get some points into PWRC. And Clint, wouldn't it be fantastic if a New Zealander could win the PWRC Championship this year? Namely this guy, Hayden Paddon.
Yes, living their dream left by the late great Possum Bourne.
Laps forward, open to the 80 Titan short minus.
Should be faster than the morning run by how much? 21:21.08. Wow, 36 seconds quicker. This is Paddon's competition now. Chris West, fastest on the previous stage, but needs to make up 25 seconds here to pass Paddon. Can he do it?
Well, it definitely is possible on these longer stages, but if you actually heard Hayden Paddon as he went across the finish line, he complained about the car. If you got offline, you lose a lot of time. So Chris, absolutely crucial to keep on those wheel tracks and keep in line and pull a good stage time. And he's just blowing it because he just got offline.
Not a good time, 21:44.3. Paddon has smoked Westy on that stage. What about the battle for third place, though? Sumner, Taylor and Gilmour and Inkster had all been within 20 seconds of each other going into the stage.
Well, third place today would mean that Dean still leads the New Zealand Championship. In fact, if he can consistently be in the top 3 all season, he'll be a very hard driver to beat. But he's struggling here at the moment.
Doesn't look like it's going to be the fastest time, but can he hold on to third place? 21:57.8. Stuart Taylor was leading at round 1 until he flooded the engine in a Ford. So this is a brand new engine in the car, and his pace has certainly improved throughout the day.
Well, let's see if he can improve on this stage as he comes down to the finish on that. That's a very tricky corner. Even he got it wrong. Let's look at his time. 21:56.9. That puts him within 10 seconds of Sumner.
Emma Gilmour now over the double bridge on her way to the finish, the long stage.
Well, the clutch problem's out of the way now. You can see there nice gearbox changes. Big long stage, so an opportunity to catch Stu Taylor through here.
So can Emma Gilmour move into 4th position? And the Gold Star class, her time coming down to the line. What's it going to be? 21:53.4, faster than Taylor, and now just trails him by 2 seconds. So the final piece of the puzzle is Glenn Inkster.
Well, Glenn's been on a bit of a charge all afternoon, and he's looking pretty good here as well. Plenty of commitment, and he's staying in those wheel track lines as well. But if you have a look at the clock at the moment, he's down a little bit on time. It sort of looks reasonably fast, so maybe he had a problem earlier on. He gets through that second to last corner quite well, and his time...
5 right plus.
22:06.6, so a slow time, Glenn Inkster.
Another steady run by Kingsley Thompson, 7th in the Gold Star class.
Okay, left.
Well, remember, this second pass is much faster than the first, and this road has been really a death knell for plenty of rally cars. So while Kingsley isn't setting the world on fire, this is a very sensible drive.
And Sloane Cox finally back to the form he showed on stage 1, though. The young Rotorua driver just 7 seconds slower through the stage than Chris West.
Well, Sloane's obviously trying because he's sort of had a little bit of a biff in the back there, lobbed a bit off the back of the car. So he's been fairly impressive today, especially early on. He set some very fast stage times.
5 right open, 30. 6 left, tightens 4 plus 30.
Also improving stage by stage, Kieran Hall now up into the top 10. And into the top 10 in the production class, Glenn Smith. This was his first outing since nearly destroying the car 3 kilometres into the first stage in round 1 in Otago.
Well, I think Glenn will be taking it very easily in the next couple of rallies just to get the hang of this Evo 10.
In the open class, Jeff Argyle continued to chase down Mark Tapper. In fact, at this time he was just 9 seconds behind Chris West. So in the Gold Star production class, it's Hayden Paddon out in front from Chris West, followed by Sumner, Taylor and then Gilmour, your top 5.
And right behind them is Glenn Inkster, Kingsley Thompson, Glenn Smith rounds out the top 10.
Coming up, it's the final dash to the finish, day 1 with a sprint around the Auckland Domain. Welcome back to day 1 of Rally New Zealand, round 2 of the Vantage Aluminium Joinery New Zealand Rally Championship. This is Hayden Paddon, leading the production World Championship cars and leading the New Zealand equivalent, our Gold Star production class. This is the last real stage of the day, with just a sprint through the Auckland Domain to follow.
Yeah, and Hayden Paddon's got a very convincing lead at the moment, so he's looking pretty good. But look at these roads.
Chris West still in second in the class, but now the gap to Paddon was over a minute.
Well, with these fast roads, you cannot let anyone get away, and Chris West slow this morning, Hayden a big lead, so there's no way Chris can get it back.
Feature of the day turned out to be the battle for third place in the production class. Emma Gilmour, first of this group on the stage.
Well, we know Emma's crew's fixed the clutch on this car, and she's been absolutely flying this afternoon. And the time impressive, 13:24.5.
Stuart Taylor, the next of the group through. He was 2 seconds ahead of Emma Gilmour going into the stage, so his time has to be 13:26.5 or better to stay ahead. Can he do it?
Well, Stuart's not looking good. Look at that clock. What's his time going to be across the finish line? 13:30.8. He's lost a position to Emma.
So now it's Dean Sumner's chance to hold on to that place on the podium. Last time through the stage, he was a second off Emma Gilmour's time. This time he must be within 11 seconds of her time to hold the position.
Well, looking at the clock there, Dean's well down. It looks like Emma's time might be good enough to give her third place. Coming down to the line, Dean. 13:39.3. He drops to fourth place.
Sloane Cox moved up a spot to 8th on this stage, so a good comeback after a stage 2 spin. It's been a tough day, though, for Matt Jansen and the Subaru. Last year's rookie champ struggled to find pace on these stages during Rally Whangarei. It was the same today, although he did get past Josh Marston on the stage to move up to 11th in the production class.
Into a 4 right plus, opens, tightens over score crest, 100.
So the day turns to night and the crowds gather at the Auckland Domain for the historic return of the stage. Not used for 25 years, a chance for the drivers to show off to the fans and for Auckland to celebrate this iconic return of Rally New Zealand. Great shots coming through from the stage in the Auckland Domain. Great to see the crowds as well. As Jeff Argyle completed the stage, word coming through from the service that would see him, yes, take the lead in the open class.
Well, drama down here at the service park, and it relates to Mark Tapper. Basically, he's been running the FIA approved fuel. You're allowed to run that in the Rally New Zealand, but you're not allowed to run it in an open four-wheel drive car in our championship. So Mark Tapper, unfortunately, has been excluded from the event today.
So while Mark Tapper keeps his leading Kiwi status for day one, Hayden Paddon leads the championship field. Chris West over a minute behind in second. A great day for Jeff Argyle, third in the results and leading the open class.
Sloane Cox finally getting ahead of Kingsley Thompson in the 8th place battle and top 10 debut for Karen Hall in the new car.
Alex Kelsey 12th, Barker 15th, leading in the two-wheel drive class. But what happened to Richard Mason?
Richard back here at the service park, and unfortunately you're not here with your car. What's happened?
Look, we went wide on the outside of a corner and slid the car down a bank, and it's just finished on its side. While Sarah and I were getting organised, we didn't realise the engine was still running, and it's actually running engine bearing, so no more Rally New Zealand for us. Really disappointing.
Hayden, second place today, well done.
Yeah, it hasn't been too bad a day. Obviously we're looking at the rally as a whole over 3 days, not just one, and today was all about just getting comfortable, setting a bit of a groove, and just setting up for the next 2 days of rallying. So, you know, all in all, it's been good. We haven't been pushing. It's just been a good, steady pace with no risks, and it's been quite comfortable.
Yeah, like it has been a mixed day, to be fair, but we've, I think at the end of the day, it's a good position, and whilst we haven't probably been right at the pointy end, we're still here. So right on tomorrow.
So join us next week as the action continues across the Waikato for the final 2 days of Rally New Zealand, round 2 of the Vantage Aluminium Joinery New Zealand Rally Championship.